Yaffee program on WVNN.
So what did we find out about Dr. Fauci? That Dr. Fauci loves Dr. Fauci. That is what we found out. Do you think Dr. Fauci looks in the mirror in the morning and goes, maybe he either goes, I am science. You are science. Or maybe he just says, hi, science. Because he believes anything he says, it is the science. We'll talk about that. Honestly, though, when it comes to the COVID stuff, when it comes to the revelations of Dr. Fauci, what he had in his diary, I want to talk about the big picture here. Because we are still living with the ramifications of all the COVID nonsense. We can blame Dr. Fauci, but we need to blame China. Now everyone's like, yeah, of course we need to blame China. But have there been any consequences? So we'll discuss that in a moment. You are listening to the Yaffee program. This is the show where you can count on the latest news, the important guests, and the best analysis, all for your morning commute. Here on News Talk 770 AM, 92.5 FM, WVNN. We also will have those Alabama bullet points, the top stories from around the state. Later on, and Bugsy will like this, I guess we got to talk flock cameras. Once again, it's the big, we have moved on from data centers, and we're going to talk flock cameras more today. Everyone's favorite.
Maybe I'll talk myself back out of it today.
You talked yourself into it yesterday, so we'll see if we can talk Bugsy out of it. I don't think we're going to be able to. So we'll get into that. We have the latest on Iran. And speaking of that, Victoria Coates will join us in the next hour. She's a national security foreign policy expert with the Heritage Foundation. Also, some great comments from U.S. Senator Tommy Tuberville when it comes to government-run grocery stores. We'll see how great that idea is. I always end the show with the Yaffee program Rewind. We always take your text messages on the Yaffee text line, 866-494-9866, 866-494-WVNN. And Bugsy is here producing today. She's going to do What's Trending in the next hour. Bugsy, how are you?
My fingers hurt, Yaffee. My fingers hurt really bad.
What did you do?
I just cut an apple, Yaffee. I'm sorry. I'm not good with knives.
You cut?
I cut 3 of my fingers, too. And
How did at the same time or
no,
at 3 separate times?
The first 2 were at the same time, and then I kind of nicked it again then, and then after that, I got the other one really good. And that one started bleeding really bad, and finally I had to go get Band-Aids and stop cutting my apple. My blood apple. That's what I'm calling it.
Just eat the apple whole.
No, I can't dip it in caramel then. It's not, I mean,
sure you can.
It's
dip
stupid.
That thing right in there.
And you get more apple per apple. You barely cut the core out. You get more apple.
Okay. All right. So Dale told you just to buy bags of apples?
Yes, and then he was like, I'm buying you an apple slicer. And my argument was that it won't slice them small enough.
He gets you an apple slicer, and it's not good enough for you.
It's not good enough for me. I'm going to still have
what
to
if he
cut
buys
the
you pre-sliced apples?
They're not as good, I found.
They're not as good?
They're not as good, and they're too expensive.
Well, I mean, they are expensive. If he gets it for you, it'd be different.
That's true. There's free apples.
I mean, honestly, you should blame Dr. Fauci.
I should.
For apples being expensive.
It's his fault.
That's what we've learned.
He's behind Big Apple, I guess.
You would not. Maybe it's not quite where where I was going with that, but sure, Big
like.
Apple. Big Apple is there. All right, so yes, we have the news, and I'll read some of this from the Hill because the hearing is today. But Senator Rand Paul released Fauci's diary entries ahead of the hearing. So former White House Chief Medical Advisor Anthony Fauci will appear for the Senate this week for a hearing. Leading up to his appearance, Senator Rand Paul released thousands of pages of Fauci's diary entries. Now, his diary entries reveal his keen awareness of the media's growing interest in him. He constantly talked about how he got to go to dinner with Jake Tapper on the magazine covers he was on. He might be the most important person in America. I kid you not. He says, press is going wild with me. Front page in Washington Post yesterday, an op-ed by Maureen Dowd in the New York Times today about me. And my relationship with the president, profile by Peter Nicholas on me in The Atlantic. I'm trying in several articles and on TV to clarify that the president is talking about hope for therapies, blah, 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 blah. But of course, one of the most revealing revelations was this. And this is from January 2020, which is, and part of this is kind of concerning. I remember getting really sick in February of 2020, right before the whole COVID thing happened. I didn't lose my sense of smell or taste, but I always wondered if that was COVID. But anyway, he wrote in his diary, January 2026, I'm sure many of you have seen this, but he says it now appears, using EPI data and genomic data, that the first infection was in early December and was not connected to the wet market. Remember, we heard forever that it was bats at the wet market and people eating the bats that spread this. Apparently, Dr. Fauci, even though months later he was in the media, the media he was obsessed with apparently, but he was in the media spreading all that, and apparently he knew from the beginning that it was not from that market. He also, apparently, members of the CIA met with him, and there were some who brought up a lab leak before all this really got going. And he just dismissed it. But he's the science. Now he continues on. He said the infection spread among people weeks before the Chinese reported that they were dealing with a new infection that gave the virus time to establish itself in multi-generational sustained spread. He said, remember, early on the Chinese were saying that there is no human-to-human transmission, and all the original 27 cases were from the market. Now we know the market was not the source, it was the amplifier. Having said that, somewhere the virus jumped from animals to humans. So he still believed it jumped from animals to humans, but he knew in January that the market wasn't the source. And we also know that China was covering this up. They were covering this up. A lot of people are focusing on the Fauci aspect, which we need to focus on. But one thing we got to continue to focus on is China. I know the Democrat socialists out there, they want to tell us that America is the cause of all of the world's problems. That the world would be a much better place if America didn't exist. We're the ones destabilizing the world. And they always forget what the alternative is. Without America, what do you think China would be doing in the world? Look what they already did with COVID. Now, while some of this maybe was exaggerated, still millions of people died from COVID. Kids are still dealing with the ramifications of the lack of education in those times. The mental health crisis in this country got worse. Our political crisis, I guess, got worse. And, I joked with Bugsy that she has to pay more for apples, but the inflation that we're dealing with still today goes all the way back to COVID and the massive amount of spending we did during COVID and after COVID, and of course, how it disrupted the economy further on than that. All because of China. All because of what they did in the world. And there have been basically no ramifications for that. And think about this. All of those ramifications because of what China was doing in a lab. I mean, think about it. We have all basically caught a disease that was created in a lab, most likely leaked from a lab. Do we even ever really comprehend that? Just how crazy that is? So all of this talk about what we have to do, the ramifications from China, this is where a lot of it comes from. But man, take a step back and just think about everything China did through that lab and really covering it up in the beginning, how much it's still screwing us up in the world and in the country. It's kind of baffling. Now, Dr. Fauci also was a part of that because he was the one pushing for lockdowns, even though he denied it later. Now, one thing I do have to play, so a lot of this was put out by Senator Rand Paul. Now, you might remember that President Joe Biden pardoned Dr. Fauci for everything. It was just a blanket pardon. But Rand Paul suggests that maybe that's not good enough. Maybe he still could be held accountable. So go ahead and play, if you can, Bugsy, play the Rand Paul cut that I sent you.
Is it too vague to say, I'm going to prosecute you for, not prosecute you and pardon you for anything you did in the last 10 years? I think there's a possibility the court says that's vague and not specific. We have two clear-cut cases against him, lying to Congress, which is a felony, but also destroying public records.
All right, so he's saying basically that the pardon maybe was too vague, and there could be clear-cut cases here. Now, you also have the Department of Health and Human Services, the Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. He commented on some of this as well. Play the RFK cut for me.
5 months later, he had, and this is the first time that we knew this from the diary, he had a pulmonary infarction, which is one of the adverse events that NIH, CDC, and FDA said are expected from the vaccine. He never told anybody. He has immunity against all of the things that he did prior to President Biden signing, or the electronic pen signing his pardon, but he could perjure himself now. Well, there are many things that he said that we know are lies.
So, I mean, maybe that is a possibility. Oh, and just kind of a reminder here of, and we see this throughout the diary, just how full of himself he was. I mean, that's what you have to remember. I remember at first I kind of liked Dr. Fauci when all this first started, and then I was like, oh, wait a minute. How did we get to a point where this guy assumed so much power? Well, he reveled in it. Go on and play the Dr. Fauci cut.
A lot of what you're seeing as attacks on me, quite frankly, are attacks on science. Because all of the things that I have spoken about consistently from the very beginning have been fundamentally based on science. Sometimes those things were inconvenient truths for people, and there was pushback against me. So if you are trying to, get at me as a public health official and a scientist, you're really attacking not only Dr. Anthony Fauci, you're attacking science.
So, like I said, he looks himself in the mirror and says, "Good morning, science. I'm glad you're here, science." By the way, I like how the Wall Street Journal editorial board put it. They said, all of which points to a larger lesson still unlearned for the COVID debacle. The doctor of the diaries comes across all too human, stubborn, biased, vain, and vindictive. Yet the media and most of the political class treated him as a Solomonic sage, the perfect technocrat capable of managing all of society. The COVID record shows that his advice was often wrong, and in the case of the lockdowns, catastrophically so. This is why voters increasingly rebel against rule by the quote-unquote experts. After reading the Fauci diaries, the real question is why we'd ever allow such a person to rule over us in that way again. But then you have, Mom Donnie out there who wants the government to run our grocery stores too. So that's great. We'll talk more about that later on. We have the Alabama bullet points coming up next as well. You're listening to the Yaffee program. Stay with us.
It's the Yaffee program on WVNN.
All right, we're back here on the Yaffee program. Someone weighed in on the Yaffee text line, 866-494-9866, said, Fauci lied, people died. Is that a fair statement? Yes, and I'm going to steal that. So I appreciate that. Really, China lied and people died. That's kind of even the broader aspect here. We'll talk more about that later on, but right now we got to get to those headlines. Once again, we have those Alabama bullet points.
Alabama bullet points. Today's headlines from around the Yellowhammer State.
Sponsored by Larry's Pistol and Pawn. Number 4 today, Congressman Mike Rogers disagrees with Congressman Chamari Figures as they clash over the NDAA defense spending. So Alabama U.S. Representatives Mike Rogers and Chamari Figures clashed over the recently passed $1.15 trillion fiscal year 2027 National Defense Authorization Act, which did pass the House. We talked about that before. But Rogers, who chairs the House Armed Services Committee, praised the bill's historic defense spending as essential to modernize the military. But Figures, on the Democrat side, said it was outrageous, the largest ever amid ongoing war. So he voted against it. And of course, that reflects a broader Democratic opposition to the cost. The measure now moves to the Senate for approval. We'll have to see if it gets approved. Usually this is passed on a bipartisan basis, but Democrats right now, they do not want to support Trump or the military. Number 3 today, I wrote about this at yellowhammernews.com. State lawmakers are lamenting the failure to pass a closed primary bill last year. This is as Democrat leaders in the state are pushing for crossover voting in the primaries, the upcoming primaries. So Alabama political leaders are renewing calls for closed primaries after Democrat Party Chairman or Vice Chair Tabitha Eisner urged Democrats to vote in the upcoming Republican primary next month, arguing that closing primaries would alienate independents and that Democrats should keep keep themselves open as a big tent. A closed primary bill introduced by Representative Ernie Yarbrough last year would have required voters to declare party affiliation and imposed a 60-day blackout on switching parties. Well, it died in the Senate without a floor vote at the final day of the session. And so now they're saying, look, Democrats are wanting to cross over again, screw up Republican elections. So they want to pass this bill next year, hopefully. Number 2 today, U.S. Senator Katie Britt backs an anti-fraud bill that she hopes will claw back $65 billion in unused COVID funds. So U.S. Senator Katie Britt is supporting the Protecting American Taxpayers Act. This is introduced by Senator Joni Ernst out of Iowa and 13 others, which combines 16 bipartisan anti-fraud measures. Now, the bill's main provision would rescind more than $65 billion in unused COVID-era funds, while also barring individuals convicted of Small Business Administration fraud from future aid, requiring the president's budget to detail improper payments, extending fraud statutes of limitations, closing whistleblower protection gaps, creating a task force on AI and deepfake scams, increasing oversight of funds to restricted countries, and revising accountability for programs like TANF. So she recently joined the Senate Anti-Fraud Task Force, and this is kind of a part of that. Number 1 today, U.S. Senator Tommy Tuberville bashes Mamdani's plan for government-run grocery stores. Says customer base will be illegal aliens. You know, I didn't even think about that. To me, I just thought it was a bad idea because it's a socialist idea. I didn't even think about the illegal alien aspect, but that's a good point. He's right. So Tuberville criticized New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani's plan to open 5 government-run grocery stores by 2029 during an appearance on Newsmax, calling it socialism and communism that will prove short-lived and costly. About $90 million initially. Now, he argued that people should seek jobs rather than rely on government aid like SNAP, and claimed the stores would primarily serve poor illegal immigrants with cheaper food in exchange for political support for socialists, something he said should appall Americans given the abundant job opportunities in New York. So we'll talk more about that. Apparently what they're going to do is open the store and make sure prices are lower, or 35% lower than, say, what you would get at a private grocery store. You know what's going to happen? There are going to be a bunch of people at first that really don't have to go to one of those government stores that are going to go. And so you're undercutting the free market, but also, I mean, it's going to be run poorly. I mean, just look at our dumb ABC alcohol stores in Alabama. Those are they're all terrible. And yet it's a government-run store, basically. So we could talk more about that later on. It's pretty annoying. Tuberville's, he's 100% right on that issue. By the way, I want to tell you about Larry's Pistol and Pawn. You want to talk about a great store to shop to get great prices? And no, it's not run by the government. Larry's Pistol and Pawn. Go to the Madison location. It's off Greenbrier Exit 3 next to the big rusty water tower. It's an 18,000 square foot facility because, well, they have so much to offer you, including a huge selection of jewelry. I keep talking about, I have had several family members, several friends, several coworkers tell me the great experience they had buying jewelry at Larry's Pistol and Pawn. Now, my mom got a sapphire ring, but it didn't fit. They resized it for her. They found exactly what she wants. And, of course, some people, they find their engagement rings there. And that can be a process as well. You want to make sure you get the right ring. So she says yes. So go to Larry's Pistol and Pawn, and you'll find exactly what you need and get it for a great price. So you can find out more at pistolandpawn.com. There is another location in Huntsville off North Memorial Parkway. When you go, let them know Yaffee was the one who sent you. We'll be back in a moment here on the Yaffee program.
You're listening to Yaffee on WVNN.
You didn't start a business just to keep the lights on. You're here to sell more today than yesterday. You're here to win. Lucky for you, Shopify built the best converting checkout on the planet. Like the just one tapping, ridiculously fast acting, sky-high sales stacking, champion of checkouts. That's the good stuff right there. So if your business is in it to win it, win with Shopify. Start your free trial today at shopify.com/win.
Scrolling with Haley. Join Haley Caronia as she scrolls through the biggest headlines.
If you haven't watched this show before, we do blind reactions. I have not seen these videos, so I am seeing them for the first time with all of you. We're going to implement the tinfoil hat time segments and all the stuff you know and love. And I'm going to finish the show and answer some of your questions. Someone asked me, what made you get into podcasting? And I was producing podcasts for other people. And I was like, I could do this for myself. And here I am.
Scrolling with Haley. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
News Talk 770 AM, 92.5 FM, WVNN. All right, question for everyone listening today. What are you more concerned about for the future of the country? I'm just going to give you some random options here. Are you concerned about data centers and AI? Are you concerned about these flock cameras and the surveillance state? Are you concerned, maybe you are concerned about climate change and we're not doing enough when it comes to climate change? Are you concerned about chemtrails? That comes up now. We have bills in place to ban chemtrails. I'm trying not to laugh when I say that. What else? There's got to be something else I'm missing. Vaccines? Which one is next? The latest panic seems to be flock cameras. Now, we'll probably move back to data centers eventually. I don't want to act like I'm discounting everything when it comes to the concern of flock cameras. And just if people are wondering, I didn't know what this was until a couple of days ago, really. But the brand, they're called flock cameras because it's the brand. Apparently the brand that really established a lot of this technology. It's an AI camera that they're putting up in cities on roads that can track people's license plates and the make of their car and stuff. And it puts it in a database. So if officers later on after the fact are maybe looking for someone, they can go to the database and it can kind of track and find someone. Seems pretty basic, simple enough, but people are concerned that it could be abused, and it has been abused in the past. People are also concerned that, where it's a stepping stone to the surveillance state and everything, and it kind of goes against the Fourth Amendment of the Constitution and everything. If you're one of those people concerned, by the way, tell me why on the Yaffee text line, 866-494-9866. But is this a real concern, or is this just kind of the latest moral panic? Now, what's interesting, as I mentioned, it's funny how these stories just all of a sudden become a big thing. I mean, I just Googled flock camera and went to the news section, and there's so many stories about it. You have this story. What is it? Fridley Police Detail, who can access flock safety camera data amid concerns from residents. Another story. Police continue flock camera investigation following vandalisms. That happened in Georgia. Here's another one. Reynoldsburg residents push to end flock camera use. Oh, another one. Idaho man faces felony charge for damaged flock safety cameras there. Here's one. LAPD quit flock camera network 2 weeks ago. And it says Connecticut's smallest towns just reached the same conclusion. Oh, and by the way, I did see that they were trying to find someone in Seattle, I believe, after a shooting. And they used to be able to use the cameras, and there was a backlash, and they took them down, and it was harder for them to find them. That's kind of one of the ramifications. Now, this is also an issue in Alabama. In fact, one of our local news outlets, WHNT, did a story out of Red Bay, which is in northern Alabama, about their concern about flock cameras, although the police chief there is apparently not like look, this is just license plate tracking. Go and play that cut for me. This is the news report from WHNT on the flock cameras. Play that cut for me.
Behind me is one of the 2 flock cameras installed here in Red Bay. But Police Chief Jana Jackson says the cameras aren't as invasive as some residents believe. Chief Jackson says the conversation with flock safety began in January of this year. Since then, 2 flock cameras have appeared inside of the city. One at the intersection of 11th Street and 4th Avenue, and another at 4th Street and Hospital Road. But Chief Jackson says the technology is nothing new.
License plate recognition devices have been around for over 25 years, and there are over 1,200 flock safety cameras in the state of Alabama. You know, a person cannot fly out of an airport without going past a flock safety camera. Many cities have utilized this equipment for years now.
A Facebook group called Deflock Red Bay has garnered more than 300 members, voicing concerns about the city's new cameras. Chief Jackson wants to assure residents the cameras do not use facial recognition technology and are only used to identify license plates in criminal investigations. Red Bay Councilman Jason Vinson says he wants to make sure the cameras are used properly.
As long as I'm on the city council, we will put in place ordinances and policies that will be stricter than what the state actually has. We're going to try our best to do that. I'm only one vote, but I think the other council people are in the same boat. We're not for a surveillance state of recording everything that happens.
Chief Jackson says anyone caught tampering with a flock camera will be charged with criminal mischief. Chief Jackson says she has a meeting with Flock Safety next week to continue discussions about the cameras. She also says the City Council's next session will include a discussion on policies governing how the cameras are used going forward. In Red Bay, Victoria Ray, News 19.
All right, so it's already taken over a small city in Alabama, Red Bay. I do like, though, how many, Bugsy, how many Facebook groups do you think are out there that say deflock?
In our state specifically or everywhere?
Well, just in our state. There's got to be
There's got to be at least 100, maybe 1,000.
When I first heard the word, I still thought of like a flock of birds. I was like, are we talking about bird cameras? What are we?
We already got rid of the geese. What now?
Yeah, we moved on to the geese to this. I don't know. Deflock, Alabama. So I really want to know what you think about this, everyone, waiting on the Yaffee text line. Now, one person said this, said from a constitutional viewpoint, flock cameras are an egregious violation of our civil rights. Those who would trade freedom for safety deserve neither. That's a quote from Benjamin Franklin. Another person said the only people against flock cameras are criminals and people who don't want to punish criminals. If you go out in public, you're being recorded almost continuously. See, I understand some of the concerns about the surveillance state and the abuse because some areas, you know, they were abusing it. They put in the technology. They didn't really have the safeguards. I am all for putting safeguards in place so that this isn't abused. But I guess the one thing, I don't think you have this reasonable expectation of privacy when you're in your car on a public road. Now, I do think you have somewhat inside your car, so to speak. I don't think they should be listening to your conversations, tracking your face and everything. But there is a reason why you register a car. You have a license plate for your car. There's a reason why you have that. So if something does happen, they can track the car. It's already a system in place to track it. This is just using AI to make it more efficient, honestly.
I mean, would they rather have a cop at every street corner with a camera in his hand? Like checking your license plate? It would be the same thing.
I mean, you know, that's a good point. Technically, you could do that, right? So
they already do that in some cities.
Well, you have a cop that sits there and gets the radar, but yeah, they have cops at different areas that basically, can track your license plate. I know that there are times a cop pulls up behind me and they just track the license plate because it's there. So I'm just wondering if we're just making too big. You heard the police chief in that cut was just kind of like, we've had license plate technology trackers for a long time. This is just sort of a more sophisticated aspect of that. So, Bugsy, what is your take? Have you been convinced yet by the deflock people to be against
not.
these?
They're making me more for it, honestly.
Are they really?
Yes.
Why is that?
I don't know. What really gets me about it is they're like, oh, it can be abused, so therefore it is inherently bad. Are those same people against guns? I mean, you can own a gun. Your gun owner, you can shoot somebody, and that right can be abused as well. So should we take away all guns?
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, you could say that because when I hear that, you could say that about any cop, just in general, right?
Yeah. So should we get rid of cops?
Get rid of their guns. A cop. I actually talked with a former cop yesterday, and he was like, "Look, we give every cop a gun already, and you're worried about them abusing cameras. Shouldn't you be more worried about if you're worried about cops abusing things, we should take away their guns then."
Yeah, they're starting to sound like the ACAB people now, like, oh, cops are all abusing it, so no cameras. Well, at that point, no cops, right?
Yeah, well, exactly. So my general take is there is a problem where technology can be abused. And so the real answer, and I know this is sort of common sense, voice of reason take. The real answer is to make sure there are safeguards so that not every cop can access the system at any time. That you have to put in maybe your badge number. I think you mentioned this before.
Yeah, they need to be tracked whenever they access it, and they have to there will more than likely already be a log of what they access, when they access it, by who.
Right, and I'm guessing that's how they found the people that abused it, like the certain cops that abused it in the past.
Yeah, it was due to a review on the actual information that they found it, that it was that guy that was abusing it.
So that just seems to be. I know we're all worried about the surveillance state, but I mean, if we really are, we would have to get rid of our cell phones. We'd have to get rid of all security cameras in all public places.
Shouldn't be able to text in and tell us that you're anti-surveillance state if you have a phone.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, it's like people were worried in one city because they had what were called flock cameras in a Lowe's parking lot or something. Now, really, it was just a security camera.
Maybe a flock brand one, but...
Right, exactly. And Flock's just a brand. It's become the word to use on this, but it's really just a brand. I mean, there are different brands out there.
And people do steal from Lowe's a lot, by the way.
Well, that's why they have it. Yeah, exactly. So they want to catch people. And it's like when you're in a Lowe's parking lot, do you have a reasonable expectation of privacy to the point where they can't have a camera there?
Yeah, why would you be offended that they have a camera there if you're not doing anything wrong?
Right. Right. I do think in certain areas, yes, you should have some reasonable expectation of privacy. I do think we need safeguards and checks on what the government can do with certain powers and certain tools. I'm totally all for that. But to just react by some people vandalizing the actual cameras, it just seems a little, it just seems like we take this too far, which we do with everything in our society these days. I mean, let's be honest. That's what we're doing here. If you want to weigh in, you can. We have the Yaffee text line, 866-494-9866, 866-494-WVNN. Right now, let me tell you about my good friends at the Huntsville Men's Clinic. They have been serving Huntsville for 5 years. They know exactly what they're doing. That's why many men go there. They get the treatments based on real assignments, and the 92% of men that have gone have seen results. So if you're dealing with low energy or problems in the bedroom and you think, oh, I'm just getting older, I just have to, that's just life. No, it's not just life. You can actually get treatments to better the quality of your life with the Huntsville Men's Clinic. They're powered by Men's Pro. I want you to contact them today. Go to the website right now. Easy to make an appointment on the website, HuntsvilleMen'sClinic.com, HuntsvilleMen'sClinic.com. When you go, let them know Yaffee was the one who sent you. We'll be back in a moment on the Yaffee program.
The Yaffee program.
It's 70 AM, 92.5 FM, WVNN. Another question for anyone listening. Would you go to a government-run grocery store? Would you shop there if the prices were lower? By the way, Bugsy, I just sent you, emailed it to you, a couple audio cuts. Can you grab those real quick? Can you get a sec?
Give me a second.
Yeah, give you a sec. I'm trying to talk to you in the break, but grab those real quick.
I'm sorry,
While
our
you
boss
do
came in
that,
here.
while you do that, let's see, because I want to play those cuts in just a second here. I do want to tell people real quick, though, if you talking about a good deal, much better deal than you get at some government-run grocery store. We have some great deals on our Sweet Deals page at WVNN.com. So check it out. And right now, you get 79% off. It's $99 for the 2026 Tennessee Valley Summer Golf Card. So you can enjoy a round of golf and card on 7 fantastic courses, all for just $99. It's going to sell out pretty soon, I think. So I want you to go to the website right now, WVNN.com. Click on the Sweet Deals tab, and you can see that great deal on the Tennessee Valley Summer Golf Card. Some other stuff as well on the website. So go to WVNN.com. Check that out. So got to talk about, and Tuberville had a good comment on this. So that's what I was going to play here in a moment.
I haven't.
But we have the mayor of New York City, Zohran Mamdani, deciding to open some government-owned, nonprofit grocery stores. Now, when someone tells you they're a socialist, my response usually is to believe them. He says he's a socialist. This is just more proof that he's a socialist. Now, honestly, it's kind of a big gimmick, too. But did you say you had it, Bugsy?
I do have it, yes.
Great. Play the Mamdani cut first. This was him making the announcement.
City government is stepping in to make people's lives more affordable. Today, I am proud to announce a collection of essential staples that will be predictably 30% cheaper at all 5 of our city-run grocery stores. Once a month, our 5 city-run grocery stores will set prices for this core set of goods at 30% below typical retail prices. No exceptions, no gimmicks. That means no weekly fluctuations nor sticker shock at the checkout line.
All right, there you go. No weekly fluctuations. Don't you understand, everyone, that the government is going to run this better? Those private companies, it's just gimmicks. They're going to change prices and they'll fluctuate. Not here. The government will run it. You know what? Honestly, it kind of reminds me of something just the top of my head here. I remember JCPenney years ago tried this out, where instead of having sales and price differences and coupons and stuff like that, they're like, no, we'll just have one square price and it's going to stay that price. And they thought it would be a great idea. Their sales tanked because people love the deals. They want to believe they're getting a deal. So it's not just a gimmick. It's really giving the people what they want. But no, Mamdani says the government will do a better job. Do you all believe him? Would you go to this store? By the way, Tuberville, one of our U.S. senators, responded to this. He was talking about it on Newsmax. Play the Tuberville cut for me.
You're exactly right. It'll be devastating to a lot of things there. Unfortunately, they'll start counting on it. There's one reason that we give SNAP cards is for people that need food, that don't have the opportunity to have a job. But at the end of the day, Rob, if people want to do what's right and they want to make themselves better, go get a job. Go out there and work. Don't lean on somebody else. Don't lean on the federal government. But this is socialism and communism at its best. And it won't last long. I think they're spending the first few months $90 million on this nonsense. The American people should be appalled across the country because we're only having this in New York, the top and most renowned city in the world where you have opportunities galore to get a job. But we're having to open up these grocery stores for illegals, basically, Rob. It's going to be illegals that don't have money to try to get their vote.
So I didn't think about that last part until he brought it up, but it's kind of true. You will see illegal aliens wanting to use these grocery stores. And also $90 million. Now, apparently, there were some grocery stores that were government run that were tried in Kansas. Also some in Florida and maybe some other places. They didn't really work out. Because once you get rid of the profit incentive, all you have is cost. This is why it's bad to do this in healthcare. If you get rid of a profit motive, because the profit motive also forces you, through competition as well, to lower prices, to be more productive, because you want more people to come and shop there. Once you get rid of the motive, all you have is cost. And the cost will go up. There is no incentive now for these grocery stores, really, to sell you a better product at a better price. What's the incentive? There's no incentive. Now, what the socialists will say, oh, the government will be the incentive. The voters will be the incentive. It doesn't work that way. Now, I guess what they would say is you could just go to a private grocery store then. But this has been tried. This has been tried in other countries. It's been tried in other states. It doesn't work for a reason. I know we all want to believe that the government can come in and just provide us things. And because they're just doing it from the goodness of their hearts, that'll be better for everyone because capitalism is greedy and evil. But as I've said before, I live in Realville, as Rush used to say. I live in the real world. I look at what actually has worked in the past. I look at actual human nature, actual motivations, and I understand that this stuff, while sounding good, it's just pie in the sky, the usual nonsense. That's what it is. And it also undercuts the free market as well, because there will be, at least at first, some that want to shop there, and then the free market ones who can't compete will probably have to shut down. You can't compete with free. One person said, did you hear? They said Madonna on the text line. I think did an autocorrect from Mamdani to Madonna. But yes, 5 government-run grocery stores. It's crazy. All right, got to move on to the latest in Iran. Victoria Coates is a former deputy national security advisor. Going to join me next year on the Yaffee program. Stay with us.
It's the Yaffee program on WVNN.
Jim Rome takes on sports.
Part of what makes this show is the show within the show. The biggest topic on the show always seems to be the show itself. This is a way to give you clones a way to interact with one another. Yes, we will be going through the chat. Yes, it'll be a part of the program. The only thing that could ruin the show are the old school clones spitting up the same bull crap that they always have. The jungle is out taking names and ready to dominate. Let's get it.
The Jim Rome Show podcast. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
The Yaffee program on WVNN.
News Talk 770 AM, 92.5 FM, WVNN. Second hour of the Yaffee program. And of course, this is the show where you can count on the latest news, the important guests, and the best analysis, all for your morning commute. And if you miss any of the show live, the podcast will be up later on the website, WVNN.com. Headline here from ABC News. It says Netanyahu and Zelensky to push their agendas at the White House as they both meet with Trump. So Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu will be angling for President Donald Trump's ear as both wartime leaders are set to meet with Trump at the White House today amid global conflict in the Middle East and Ukraine, which, of course, we've talked about. So Zelensky and Netanyahu are expected to meet with Trump in addition to attending the funeral of the late Senator Lindsey Graham, who we talked about that as well. So joining me to talk about the latest in Iran and these meetings is Victoria Coates. She's a former deputy national security advisor. She did that in the first Trump term. She is now with the Heritage Foundation as well. Victoria, thank you so much for coming on.
Of course, Yaffee. Good to be with you.
So talk about the meeting. What do you expect to come out of this meeting so far?
Well, I mean, I think they're going to be different. We have the situation where the Senate's going to come back into session after Senator Graham's funeral this afternoon, and they're going to take what's called a test vote to see if the Russian sanctions package that Graham was working on it can pass the Senate. They test before they actually vote. It just takes up more time, but that's what they do. And so it looks like that has about 80 votes and will be an easy pass, but that, I think, is something that President Zelensky is going to raise. President Trump also wants some Iran sanctions to go into that package, so I'm not sure if they're going to try to add those in as well. And then, so I think Zelensky will be talking about that. I think he'll probably be pushing on getting a license for them in Ukraine to manufacture the PAC-3 interceptors for the Patriots. which I think could be a good deal for us. As we've discussed, we make about 60 a month, and Ukraine alone needs about 70 a month. So that's the kind of interceptor everyone's talking about, is getting into, sort of low stockpiles. I think that makes a great deal of sense for them to do that, especially because we would get a cut of the production. So that would go to replenish us as well. So I think that's where we could look for news coming out of the Zelensky meeting. In terms of Israel, I think they're going to be talking a lot about Lebanon, the visit of President Aoun last week, how successful that was, what's possible now between Israel and Lebanon. And I think the prime minister is going to raise issues with the Pickaxe Mountain nuclear site in Iran. President Trump addressed that publicly earlier on this morning, that he knows what's happening, and if he needs to, he can take it out. So I don't know that we'll see news on that front.
Okay, so yeah, we'll have to see what happens. There's been a lot of talk about attacking Pickaxe Mountain. Do you think we end up doing that? That's kind of a next step here.
Well, we can, and it's a massive facility. To my understanding, the tunnels go some 300 feet deep. That's a 30-story building, essentially. So, just for context, that's how deep this thing goes. My understanding, it would be multiple runs with Moabs and mops, sort of layered onto each other. And I don't know if the goal would be to totally destroy it or render it inaccessible. Either of those strategies could be effective. So it certainly can be done. There are also discussions of having manned incursions to try to remove some of the equipment and material. That may be more targeted toward Fort Dow and the other sites rather than Pickaxe, but that's also possible.
Speaking with Victoria Coates, she's a national security foreign policy expert with the Heritage Foundation. So why do you think we're in this current pause? The Trump administration says it's to give Iran space so they can do some negotiation. But there were some reports that they were worried about the munitions stockpile and everything else. They don't want to use up everything. And as you mentioned, of course, Pete Hegseth has been in front of Congress asking for more defense funds. And we can talk about the NDAA in a moment, which did pass the House. But why are we in this current pause right now?
I think actually all of those things can be true. I think the president feels correctly that he has very significantly degraded Iran. Pick your metric. Their economy is failing. Their military capacity is down to about 10% of what it was at the beginning of the war. Their nuclear sites are at least severely damaged, if not inaccessible. And so all of those things have been materially moved forward, and Iran can't recover. Think about it like a turtle on its back. It can be turned over, but it needs help. It can't do it itself. And so that's where they are right now. So I don't see the harm in letting this process go forward, because that situation gets materially worse every day that goes by, because they can't fix their economy. They've got 88.6% inflation by some numbers that came out over the weekend. That can't improve. That just gets worse every day. And so from my perspective, we can just let this go, let them degrade every day that goes by. And especially if we can have workarounds for the energy coming out of the Gulf. And, there's some additional developments on that front. And our gas prices, stay $80 or less per barrel here in the United States. The leverage is on the president's side, and time is on his side. So I'm okay with this pause, especially because, as he said this morning, the Iranians know I'll go back in. I mean, he's done it multiple times. So, if they don't get themselves through their own process to the deal that he wants, we can do this the hard way. But I would prefer to do it the easy way.
Well, I was going to ask, what is the goal then? You talked about, right, there's a lot of economic leverage, and hopefully that can get better if we can find workarounds so we don't have to use the strait as much for oil. But what is the goal? Is the goal for the regime to collapse, you think? Or is it really to get a much better deal that they'll stick to, or maybe whatever comes first?
No, I think our bottom line strategic goal is an effective nuclear deal that prevents that program from going from weaponizing, essentially. And that's our strategic goal. Now, there are a number of things that we would like to see happen. We would like to see political liberalization in Iran. And my feeling is that that's more of a Soviet Union kind of a process, that you have, a slow breakdown of an authoritarian system that had been able to hold together for decades and decades, but then suddenly couldn't anymore. And, you have the fall of the Berlin Wall, without firing a shot. So, the kinetic pressure applied through Operation Epic Fury, it could already have achieved its desired outcome, which is that the regime can't fix itself. And so then it's a case of trying to be as proactive as possible at managing that sort of disintegration, which, if you look back to the Cold War example, we did very effectively in the former Soviet republics, who are all now NATO members and great allies of the United States. But we didn't do it particularly effectively inside of Russia. I think we assumed things were going to be going in a pro-American way, and that Russia had the internal institutions to kind of fashion itself into a liberal democracy, which it absolutely did not. And, we wound up with Putin, which is not exactly ideal. So I would say that figuring out a way to help the Iranian people get back to their 1912 constitution, their democratic institutions that they did have, it's something we would want to be more proactive about. But that would be much more desirable than a violent revolution.
So you had mentioned there that, okay, a really good deal so they don't get a nuclear weapon is probably sort of the stated goal. But I guess, they always mention Reagan, and they mention the quote, trust but verify. How do we verify that they can keep their end of the bargain? Because so far, we made a deal with them for the memorandum, and they didn't keep their end of the bargain. So how can we kind of trust that they will in the future?
No, I would trust, but I would actually, let me rephrase, I would distrust and triple verify. Assume that they're either they don't have the capacity to make executive decisions right now, that there isn't a clear leadership. And so what you need is physical proof that the sites are either dismantled or inaccessible. And then you also need to be able to go in and look at them. And the president said something about that this morning that I thought was noteworthy. He said that because of the capacities of Space Force, that we have such incredible visibility into what's happening in Iran, that we can do that verification largely ourselves. And I think that's where we would be, just ever vigilant, watching them like hawks, and demanding access, demanding additional proof. And the other thing that's been effective about Operation Epic Fury is we've degraded a lot of the sites that they used to not let us inspect, saying that they weren't military, things like their so-called research universities. Well, they've all been bombed into smithereens, and most of their nuclear scientists are dead. So that's no longer an issue the way it was. For particularly the Obama-era deal, none of that was gotten after. Now it's just gone. So I think we're in a much stronger position to do that verification.
Victoria Coates is a national security expert with the Heritage Foundation. One last question I have for you. What do you think of this potential deal when it comes to Saudi Arabia for peaceful nuclear energy? Now, Trump has said that they would have to join the Abraham Accords for Trump to really begin implementing it, and there would be no enrichment in country. But there are some skeptical because, can we really trust Saudi Arabia either on this?
Well, there are a couple of interesting things there. In the abstract, we as the Heritage Foundation are strongly supportive of this deal. We support civil nuclear expansion. We think it's been very, very successful in UAE and could be for Saudi Arabia, and particularly in terms of helping them diversify how they generate electricity, how they can then supply this excess electricity that the civil nuclear would represent to less secure neighbors, primarily Iraq, which right now depends on Iran for gas to generate electricity. That's terrible. That's a nice flow of income for Iran that I don't like. So I'd like to find a way to replace that. This represents that. Now, that said, something went awry with the announcement of the deal. I don't know what. having spent enough time in government, it can be somebody didn't make a phone call, somebody didn't get the memo approved. But whatever it was, the president was not ready to announce the deal. The deal got announced, and he announced what his terms were. So all of that got a little bit sideways. I think we'll let the dust settle and see what comes out of it. But the good news from my perspective was, Jerusalem didn't freak out when this was announced, which means they, at least in concept, are okay with it. That had always been a red line for them. But that situation seems to have progressed. And so that suggests to me that this is part of the ongoing discussions of Abraham Accords with Saudi Arabia. And that's what everybody wants to get to.
Victoria Coates is with the Heritage Foundation. Read all of her stuff at heritage.org. Victoria, always appreciate it. We'll talk to you again next time.
Sounds great. Thanks.
If you want to react to any of that, you can. We have our Yaffee text line, 866-494-9866. We'll talk more about Iran. Of course, we have what's trending at the bottom of the hour as well. You're listening to the Yaffee program. Stay with us.
You're listening to Yaffee on WVNN.
Welcome back to the Yaffee program. I guess I don't mention it enough, but you can also send me an email. So you can go, it's yaffee@WVNN.com. You can send me an email there, because someone just did. And Yaffee. Yes, I know I got to spell it for you. But the person said this about government-run grocery stores. It said, Yaffee, our military and retired military are served by a government grocery store called the Commissary. It is used by them every day and is subsidized by Congress. The prices are generally lower. The main source of funding for commissary operations, these funds are allocated by Congress and cover the cost of goods plus a 5% surcharge that is used to fund new commissary construction. Army commissaries are operated by the Defense Commissary Agency. So usually we have exceptions for this kind of stuff when it comes to our veterans. Say we have the VA, even though the VA has problems. The VA has problems. We had to pass a bill to allow people to go to places outside of the VA but still get the coverage. But that's a very specialized thing when you're talking about a government grocery store for the military and just opening government grocery stores for everyone in the city. Those are two, I would almost, and by the way, this is still subsidized by the government too. So, who knows, the costs or whatever. But it's a very, I would almost say this is more like a government version of Costco, I guess. You have to be a part of the military to get it. So you have to be a part of the club than just opening a general government-run grocery store. It'd be kind of my reaction to this. Now, on the latest on Iran, you heard from Victoria Coates. She's a little bit more optimistic than I am, frankly, about this pause. I've called it Operation Give Them Space that's going on in Iran. But I do want to I always play cuts of Jack Keane. He's been really good on this subject, retired general, been on Fox News a lot. Go ahead and play Keane cut 1 for me, Bugsy.
Well, I think there's an overture being made by Iran once again, to their primary objective here is to do what? It's to stop us from firing on them. And they're saying everything probably some of our negotiators want to hear, likely talking to Oman and maybe the Qataris and the Pakistanis, getting them involved as well. I'm highly skeptical anything will come of it. The Iranians look at the Straits of Hormuz as a strategic asset. And believe me, they're not going to give it up without a fight. That's the path we're on. And why? Because it gives them influence and control in the Middle East in a way that they never expected to have. And so will they maybe say, we'll stop firing on you, therefore we'll have negotiations, you stop firing on us? They may say that. But that doesn't mean they're not going to intimidate and coerce and control the Straits. That's where we are with these guys. And we'll see what comes of it.
All right. I tend to agree with him on that. They have no intention of really giving up control of the Strait. Because they have now learned, and we've set if we leave, we set a bad precedent, that they can hold it hostage. And they can use it as leverage against the world for whatever they want. I mean, that's why they wanted a nuclear weapon ultimately. They weren't able to get that, so now they want to use the Strait. So I don't know if they're going to keep up any bargain we make with them without more pain. Now, maybe economic pain is enough, but we'll have to see. If you want to weigh in, you can. We have the Yaffee text line, 866-494-9866. We'll get to what's trending in a moment. Right now, I'm going to tell you about my good friends at Jay's Appliance Outlet, and they have luxury kitchen collections on sale right now at Jay's Appliance Outlet in Athens. Refresh your kitchen with premium refrigerators, ranges, and cooking solutions from the trusted brands like Whirlpool, KitchenAid, GE, and much, much more. And you'll get it for a great deal, as always, at Jay's Appliance Outlet in Athens, off 72 in Athens, right after the Dollar General up there. You can find out more on the website, of course, jaysapplianceoutlet.com, or dial pound 250, say the keywords at Jay's Appliance Outlet. By the way, they have 0% interest financing available, flexible monthly payments designed for your budget, and delivery options as well. Jay's Appliance Outlet, go today, tell them Yaffee sent you. We'll be right back.
Yaffee program.
The United States Soccer Federation presents the U.S. Soccer Podcast.
I'm your host, Megan Klingerberg. One thing I promised you is an all-access pass that you wouldn't get on any other show. And we found out that whoever comes on scores a goal. Burhoff, Freeman, Trusty. U.S. Soccer Podcast magic is real, people. We still got plenty of coverage all throughout this World Cup. Okay, let's get into it.
The U.S. Soccer Podcast, presented by Henco. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
We're back here on the Yaffee program. This is News Talk 770 AM 92.5 FM WVNN. Don't forget to like the Yaffee Facebook page. Follow me on X at Yaffee or Instagram at Yaffee Live. And of course, we have our WVNN page as well. And if you go to the website, the WVNN website, WVNN.com, if you didn't know, go to the Sweet Deals tab on there and see our latest huge deal when it comes to the golf cart. $99 for the Tennessee Valley golf cart. Check it out. It's an awesome deal. So go to the page right now and save some money. Bugsy is here, so let's do it. We have What's Trending with Bugsy.
Keeping you up to date with all that's trending in your world.
Oh, they have the internet on computers now.
You guys know how to post videos to Facebook?
It's What's Trending.
Sponsored by Coleman Furniture Market, located in the heart of Coleman, Alabama. There's a reason why most of the furniture in my home is from there. If you go to the Facebook page right now, by the way, they have some great deals on some new recliners, some new couches, some new love seats. They have some new sectionals as well. They also have patio furniture. I don't mention that enough, but they have top quality patio furniture. So you want to actually enjoy your porch. Go to Coleman Furniture Market first. Get some new patio furniture. They can deliver it to your house and set it up for you, and it's ready. So go to Coleman Furniture Market today. You can see the latest stuff on their Facebook page. You can go to the website, ColemanFurnitureMarket.com. And when you do, let them know you heard about it from Yaffee. All right, Bugsy, what's number 5 today?
Number 5 today, Yaffee, it is Soulja Boy's birthday. There you go. There's today's number 1 holiday. Everybody is talking about it.
Yeah. You sound very excited about it, Bugsy.
I'm a huge fan of Soulja Boy. What are you talking about? He intrigues me, Yaffee. He intrigues me.
Okay, he intrigues.
He's a strange person.
I was gonna say, if you ever saw him, is that what you would say? You intrigue me.
You intrigue me. You interest me.
When you meet someone?
Mr. Boy.
Mr. Boy, you intrigue me.
Is that his name? Like Mr. Soulja Boy? Like, is his last name Boy? I don't know his real name.
I assume it is. That's how he should be referenced.
Hello, Mr. Boy. This is my friend Soulja.
Yep. Any other birthdays or anything?
No, we don't have any other birthdays, but it also is the anniversary of the fall of fascism and Freedom Day in San Marino, which I have no idea where that is. Do you know where San Marino is?
No. Let me look it
sounds
up.
like it's like an island, maybe.
if like no one ever told me, it says it's in Europe, but it's also okay.
It's probably near
I
Spain.
knew it was a city in California, so I was kind of confused.
The fall of fascism in California. Finally.
But so I was like, it is actually a city in California. So I was like, but there is a country in Europe apparently called San Marino.
Is it a Spanish city? Is it off the coast of
I would
Spain?
assume
or
so. Let's
something? It
see.
has to be.
Let's see. I'm trying to look at the map here. Zoom out.
Describe it to me. Describe the
Oh
borders.
no, it's close to Italy.
It's close to Spain then.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you
Relatively.
go. Not really, but all right.
They're all up there. Yeah.
Italy's on the other side, or Spain and Italy.
Okay,
yeah,
compared to the U.S., they are relatively close. I would say Alabama is relatively close to Kentucky, wouldn't you?
It is the 5th smallest country in the world.
There you go.
So it's like a tiny country.
I didn't know
within
they were
Italy.
conquered by fascism at one point. Did you?
I guess
Oh, yeah,
they were
they're
probably
near
a
to
part
They're
of.
close to Italy, so yeah,
Yeah,
probably.
Mussolini and all that. So
Well,
interesting.
good for them.
It's like surrounded by. It's like in Italy, but it's just a country. How did I
Kinda
not
like
know
the
about this
Vatican
place?
City. Like, isn't that how the Vatican is too?
Yeah, but I knew about that.
I didn't know they had
about this.
more that were just there.
I didn't either. Okay, interesting.
Strange.
Anything else?
It's also World Hepatitis Day, which is very important to you, Yaffee. You have hepatitis in your nose, right?
No, I do not have hepatitis in my nose. It's looking a lot better, the scratch.
Sorry, your gout is acting up. Your nose gout.
Oh my gosh. I don't even. When Dale first said that, and then you're like, yeah, it looks horrible.
You
Really
look
didn't look that
so
bad.
upset. I felt very bad describing your scratch. You looked so hurt.
Well, I was concerned maybe it was still bleeding on me or something because you're all like, oh, it looks like you're dying.
I was like, it is a gash from your temple
It's just
to your
a little
chin.
scratch.
It's not that bad.
All right, what else? Anything?
That's it for today. Today's a boring day, okay? I had to make something up. Well, I didn't make anything up, but I feel like those are the three things. Every day we need a holiday, of course.
Yes.
And
okay. Great.
we needed
the one
something.
holiday we have is Hepatitis Day. Wonderful.
And Soldier Boy's birthday. You can't
Wonderful.
forget that one. Of course, I put the best one first. You're welcome, yeah.
All right, what's number 4?
So number 4 today, Yaffee, divers have they've noticed a little bit of something, a little weird thing about orcas recently. We didn't know they did this. They've now been seen ramming sunfish at high speed, and they just explode. The fish just explode.
Oh.
Yeah.
They explode?
Yeah, they're exploding sunfish. Orca whales, Yaffee. I don't know.
Do they do anything after they explode? Like, do they eat
tend
it
to
or
eat
just?
them. Well, they kind of eat them, but they don't taste good. Most fish don't like sunfish. If they're very hungry, they'll eat them. Otherwise, they just leave it
Are
there.
they mad that they don't taste good?
Maybe. I mean, a
Just
lot
running
of
to them?
divers and a lot of marine biologists kind of hate sunfish. Have you ever seen? They're also known as mola mola, by the way. Have you ever seen the photos of them where they have a big bite taken out and they just keep
No.
going? Like the animal, the shark or whatever, took a bite, decided this isn't good, and let it go.
Oh man, that poor sunfish.
They don't taste good. We don't eat them. Animals don't eat them. They're a really big, stupid fish that only swims forward.
By the way, I read recently too that they find it interesting that orcas don't really attack humans. You never hear about an orca really attacking a human because they
only in
attack
certain situations too. Yeah, have they ever
because
done it?
I mean they eat pretty big animals. They attack seals and stuff,
They
but
do. They also
know
play with seals. They'll just like throw them
I know.
around to each other.
They
It's
play with their
crazy.
food. Yeah,
That's what they're doing with
but
sunfish.
they don't really do that to humans. It's kind of interesting.
No,
I guess
the-
they're just really smart.
The only time that I think they've ever been documented to really go after humans was when they were being overfished, I believe, and it was either China or Japan. But they were being overfished, and their fish that they were eating was also being overfished.
so they were
and
mad.
and they were
That
angry,
was a
yeah.
war.
And also,
Oh,
off the
geez.
coast of, it's the Aborigines in I believe it's Australia, it might be New Zealand, but they still have sort of a relationship with the orca whales there that has lasted over centuries, they say.
Wow.
And where they get on their boats. You've seen Moana, right? The same kind of boats that they use
Yes,
there, the
yes,
Polynesian
yes,
ones.
yes.
They use those and they follow the orcas out and they fish bigger animals than what the orcas could get. And they
Interesting.
kind of share it with the orca. So
Wow.
they hunt together. There's
kinda
very
cool. I
few
like
left.
that.
They're protected in that area due to that, but
Yeah.
it still happens. Very interesting, except orcas also just kind of explode some fish. It's kind of weird. But
All right, what's trending? Sponsored by SeaWorld, apparently. Let's go to number 3.
So number 3, Yaffee. Everybody knows that Mount Rainier is in Louisiana, right? It's there. It's totally there. The snow-capped mountains of Louisiana, all the pine trees, all that out there. That's what you think of when you think of the bayou, right?
Sure. Yes.
So Sam's
pine
Club,
trees?
Sam's Club is under fire right now for selling T-shirts and sweaters with little graphics of Louisiana on them, and one of them it's just like it's a little house at the beach, and it has a bunch of surfboards. Like, I don't think you're surfing in the bayou, but whatever. And then another one is snow-capped peaks, specifically Mount Rainier in Washington, with trees and elk on it.
Wow, this is
and
some
it's
lazy
like Louisiana.
you know what this is? You know what this is?
AI.
They had it made in China.
And they used AI.
Yeah, China didn't know what to do. China doesn't know the difference. It's all in America, right?
Oh,
To
yeah,
them,
Mount
so-
Rainier's in Louisiana.
Yeah, like they don't know. That's what happened here. That is a bad AI work, I think. Too. Yeah, that's
Would you buy one, though, if you saw one?
No,
That's
no,
kind of
I don't
funny, I think.
I mean, it is kind of funny. You'd buy because it's funny, but no, I don't think I would. I'd get that.
They'll probably be on sale soon. You might see people in other countries
That's
where
true.
they send
Clearance?
them off.
Yeah, that's true. With the losing team of the Super Bowl. Their shirts,
There's
yeah.
one guy wearing a losing team Super Bowl, and then the other one's wearing a Mount Rainier, Louisiana
Yes,
shirt.
Exactly.
Perfect.
All right, what's number 2?
So number 2 today, Yaffee, you're a fan of Wendy's, right? Who isn't a fan of Wendy's?
Apparently, not enough people are fans. They're not doing as well these days. But
Well,
go ahead.
they
I'm
might
sorry.
be doing well soon, okay?
Okay.
Their biggest issue, Yaffee, is they got rid of the pretzel bacon pub burger, right? Surely you've had one.
Oh, that sounds good,
They are
actually.
delicious. They're the best thing
I
they've
love
ever
pretzel
made.
buns.
They had them for a few years, and then they got rid of them, and then they brought them back for a short period of time, and then they got rid of them again. And recently, 3 months ago, they did a Bring It Back bracket on social media. It won. Okay, it won the little bracket, and they promised it would be back soon. Ever since then, we haven't heard anything. However, on the Wendy's subreddit, which apparently exists, it's for employees of Wendy's to discuss working for Wendy's, essentially, and there was a leak recently from the employees on this subreddit.
There's a leak from Wendy's?
There's a Wendy's leak that they might be bringing
Okay.
it back August 3rd because they have an order that includes the ingredients for it.
You know how sometimes, like, they'll allow leaks of movie trailers to get out early just for hype? That's what happened here. This is all,
It's
this
the
is all
Wendy's
staged.
pretzel bacon pub burger
Yeah.
hype.
Exactly. That's what
Staged
this
leaks.
is. This is a staged leak. They wanted the hype. Sounds
so
good, though. I do
exci-
love those.
It is so good. I'm so excited. I really, really hope they come back August 3rd because that's just a few days away.
Yeah,
Maybe it'll be
yeah.
a surprise drop, right?
Okay,
Recently,
I like
Taco
it.
Bell did that with the Enchilada. It's
Yeah.
back.
Oh, man, those are good.
They're really good.
Uh-huh. All right, what's number 1?
So number 1 today, Yaffee, you remember the Tiger King? Netflix's Tiger King, Joe Exotic. You know him?
Yeah,
Everybody
yeah,
knows
of
him.
course, yes.
Yeah, so his real name, Joseph Alan Maldonado. He is apparently now selling everything. I have that in quotes because he already sold everything previously. Everything he owned, he sold to help fund his attorney so he can try to get pardoned or continue to try to get pardoned. And you know what? It does kind of rub me the wrong way. I think Trump did promise he would pardon him. And then he never did.
I can't remember that. I feel like
think
maybe he did, but I have to look that
claimed-
up.
Yeah, he was like, oh, yeah, I do that. It was just like in passing, and then he forgot about it entirely. But so he's currently set to be released in 2043. He'll be 80 years old then. And he can't afford his attorney anymore because he sold everything, right? So now he has resorted to selling his music. He wants to sell 100% rights to his music for $50,000, or you can buy each one individually. And so the cheapest one appears to be $2,000, Yaffee. So we need to raise $2,000 to get Pretty Woman Lover. No, sorry, Pretty Women Lover. We want 100% ownership of that, okay?
We do?
We do. Okay, well, do you want Ballard
roped me
of
into this.
of Harry Reid? Not ballad, it's Ballard, it says. The Ballard,
Ballard of Harry Reid?
of Harry Reid, or maybe 96 Elephants. We can get that one. That one's
And that
8K,
one-
though.
What's of Harry Reid, the senator?
Yes, we can get that one for 3,000.
Okay.
What about,
By the
okay,
way, go ahead.
we should get his number one song, Here Kitty Kitty. That one is 15,000.
Okay, go ahead. Start that GoFundMe. We'll see if we can raise
To
that.
buy Here Kitty Kitty and 96 Elements. Do you think he's going to do it? Do you think somebody's going to buy it?
Sure. I'm just going to say yes. Who knows? Somebody out there.
What if Taylor Swift buys it? As covers of his
Sings it?
songs.
Yeah, sings it at her concert. There you go.
It's gonna be great.
By the way, Trump said he would look into it.
See, there you go. He
He'd look
totally didn't. He
into it.
forgot about it. Somebody
course
needs
he
to
did.
remind him. He's got a lot on his plate.
All right. Thanks, Bugsy. We'll be back in a moment here on the Yaffee program.
It's the Yaffee program on WVNN.
Welcome back to the Yaffee program. This is News Talk 770 AM, 92.5 FM, WVNN. Glad you have joined the show today. By the way, you'll be glad if you contact my good friends at VIP Care. They are primary care with a heart for seniors. So maybe you are 65 years or older, or you have a family member who has to deal with the healthcare system and they're 65 years or older and they're just having a tough time. They can't find the right doctor, the right kind of care. Well, that's why VIP Care exists. They don't just treat illnesses and symptoms. They find out what's causing them. Their doctors listen, ask questions, and work with you to create a plan that fits your needs. So they want you to have more time with your doctor. They have 24/7 support as well in convenient locations where you can get everything done. Primary care, specialists, they can do lab testing right there and more. So go to getvipcare.com right now. Getvipcare.com. Find a clinic near you. When you do, let them know Yaffee was the one who sent you. All right, let's end the show like we usually do. We have the Yaffee program rewind. That time of the show where I remind you if you missed any of it live, well, the podcast will be up on the website, WVNN.com, or anywhere you get your podcasts. So we started the show today talking about the diary of Dr. Fauci. The diary of Dr. Fauci. Be an interesting book, actually. But apparently in his diary, he admitted that he knew that the COVID-19 virus did not originate from the Wuhan wet market. Now, he did not know, he didn't say that he thought it was a lab leak. He thought maybe it came from another place. But later on, he was telling people that, no, it came from that wet market. This is what happens when you have a technocrat who thinks very highly of himself, who probably looks in the mirror and says, "Good morning, Mr. Science." That's what happens. I like how the Wall Street Journal put it. I read this earlier. I'll read it again. They said, it points to a larger lesson still unlearned from the COVID debacle. The doctor of the diaries comes across as all too human, stubborn, biased, vain, and vindictive. Yet the media and most of the political class treated him as a Solomonic sage, the perfect technocrat capable of managing all of society. The COVID record shows that his advice was often wrong, and in this case, in the case of the lockdowns, catastrophically so. This is why voters increasingly rebel against rule by the quote-unquote experts. After reading the Fauci diaries, the real question is why we'd ever allow such a person to rule over us in that way again. So we talked about that at the beginning of the show. He's going to be speaking in front of the Senate today. It should be interesting. So the podcast of that segment is up, though. We had the Alabama bullet points earlier as well. The top stories from around the state, including, speaking of COVID, had a story how Katie Britt backs anti-fraud bill that would claw back $65 billion in unused COVID funds. So if you want the details of that, the podcast of that segment is up. We also talked about flock cameras, and everyone's worried about flock cameras. I just got a long text, by the way, Bugsy, on why we should be very worried about flock cameras, that we're wrong on this. So if you want to text in, you can, but that's kind of the new thing. I tend to think the technology is going to stay around. We just have to make sure there are important safeguards. when it comes to the technology. So we also talked about government-run grocery stores. Tuberville had an interesting response to that. Play the Tuberville cut for me again. Can you play that, Bugsy?
You're exactly right. It'll be devastating to a lot of things there. Unfortunately, they'll start counting on it. There's one reason that we give SNAP cards is for people that need food, that don't have the opportunity to have a job. But at the end of the day, Rob, if people want to do what's right and they want to make themselves better, go get a job. Go out there and work. And, don't lean on somebody else. Don't lean on the federal government. But this is socialism and communism at its best. And it won't last long. I think they're spending the first few months $90 million on this nonsense. The American people should be appalled across the country because we're only having this in New York, the top and most renowned city in the world where you have opportunities galore to get a job. But we're having to open up these grocery stores for illegals, basically, Rob. It's going to be illegals that don't have money to try to get their vote.
All right, so the podcast of that segment is up as well. We talked about Iran. Victoria Coates was on. That segment is up as well. We did What's Trending. And thanks to Bugsy for producing today. Thanks to you for listening. The Vince Show is coming up next, and I will be back tomorrow at the same time. See you then.
You're listening to Yaffee on WVNN.
Hey, I'm Chris Van Vliet. Go behind the scenes and beyond the headlines with the biggest names in pro wrestling and beyond.
Jeff Jarrett, great to see you. In this business, the story behind the scenes, so much more entertaining than what you see on camera.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman.
Mr. Heyman, you are a master at the little things. That's how you turn good into great.
What does it take to achieve greatness? Whatever it takes, I'm willing to do.
That's an Emmy-winning performance.
How about it? Insight with Chris Van Vliet. Follow and listen on your favorite platform. Hey, I'm Chris Van Vliet. Go behind the scenes and beyond the headlines with the biggest names in pro wrestling and beyond.
Mr. Sandman, all I ever wanted to be was a pro wrestler. So I got to live my life and make people really happy.
The Heartbreak Kid himself, Shawn Michaels.
Do you think there's anybody better than you were?
I think I was great at what I did, and I think other people were great at what they did as well. Greatness is more a mindset, I think, than anything else.
Mindset, motivation, insight with Chris Van Vliet. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.